You ever notice how a narcissist acts all cool until you start doing better without them? Yeah, that's when the show really begins. See, the moment you start winning, healing, glowing, living your best life is the moment they start spiraling. Not because you hurt them, not because they miss you, but because you proved something they can't handle. You don't need them to shine. To a narcissist, your success is like kryptonite. It reminds them that they no longer have control, no longer take up space in your head, and most importantly, they can't get a reaction out of you anymore. That's a nightmare for someone who survives off attention, chaos, and power games. So what do they do when they see you rising? Oh, trust me, it's wild, it's petty, it's desperate, but it's also revealing. In this video, we're going to break down 7 things a narcissist always does when they realize you're out here winning. And once you spot these moves, you'll never unsee them. So buckle up, because the truth ain't pretty, but it sure as hell is freeing. 1. They explode with uncontrollable rage, and you finally see who they really are. Ever thought a narcissist would quietly walk away once they see you doing better? Yeah, not happening. They're not the wish you well type. They can't stand the idea of you thriving without them, because deep down they always believed they were the center of your universe. So what happens when you prove them wrong? They lose it. And I mean full-blown, no holding back, mask-off kind of rage. Maybe you just posted a smiling photo, or maybe you ignored one of their texts. Heck, maybe you didn't do anything at all except live your life. But on their end, it feels like you just shattered their entire sense of control. Now let's be clear, a narcissist's rage isn't like normal anger. Regular people get angry because they're hurt. Narcissists, they rage because they've lost control. Suddenly, you're getting non-stop texts, paragraph after paragraph of guilt-tripping, blaming, love-bombing, and screaming, all in one breath. They might start calling at 2 a.m., emailing you, or even showing up where you work or live. None of it is strategic anymore, it's pure panic, raw reaction. Because you're no longer playing their game. And here's where it gets even more twisted. They start digging up the past. They'll bring up stuff from years ago, things you thought were buried, and use it to guilt-trip or gaslight you. Say you don't reply to a message today. Suddenly they're reminding you of how emotionally unavailable you were back in 2021 when you didn't pick up their call after a fight. Yeah, they're not arguing, they're reaching. And just when you think they've reached peak crazy, they flip the switch and play the victim. A narcissist's rage goes in cycles: anger, pity, manipulation. One moment they're accusing you of ruining their life. The next, they're sobbing about how they can't live without you. But you know what? This is exactly when you see them clearly: no charm, no sugar-coated words, no good guy gal mask. Just raw, desperate dysfunction. And believe it or not, this moment is huge. Because if you can stay calm, not react, not defend yourself, not get pulled back in, congratulations. You've just broken the cycle. See, real power isn't about who yells louder. It's about who doesn't need to yell to protect their peace. They want you to react. They want you to fight, to text back, to explain yourself. Because as long as you're still reacting, they still own space in your mind. But when you walk away without a word, when you don't even flinch at their chaos, you're not weak. You're winning quietly, but powerfully. And remember, their unhinged rage isn't proof that you did something wrong. It's proof that you finally did something right. 2. They go full burn it all down mode. If they can't control you, they'll try to destroy you. You know the type: if they can't get what they want, they flip the table and blow up the whole game. Yeah, that's exactly what a narcissist does when they realize they no longer have control over you. To them, every relationship is about power. When they're in control, you're worth keeping around. But the moment you start standing tall, healing, doing better without them, they don't just get angry or sad. They go full scorched earth. If I can't have you under control, I'll make sure you lose everything. Sounds dramatic? Ask anyone who's been through narcissistic abuse, they'll tell you it's real. Once a narcissist sees that you're calmly walking away, not chasing, not engaging, they don't let that go quietly. Not because they love you, but because they can't handle being erased from your world. So they turn up the toxicity to 100. They'll start reaching out to your family, not out of concern, but to plant seeds of doubt. Stuff like, I'm really worried about them. They've been acting strange lately. Have you noticed anything off with them recently? Then they move to your friends, your co-workers, maybe even your boss. Suddenly, people around you are getting weird vibes, not because of anything you've done, but because the narcissist is whispering in their ear, crafting a version of you that's broken, unstable, or not who they thought you were. And if you have kids together, oh, buckle up. They'll start feeding your children subtle poison. Your mom or dad just isn't the same anymore. I'm doing this for you, sweetie, not for me. All of this has one goal: to isolate you, ruin your reputation, and make you doubt yourself enough that maybe you'll crawl back or break under pressure. But here's the truth: healthy people, even when they're hurt, don't try to destroy someone else's life. When a narcissist starts throwing dirt, it's not proof that you were a bad person. It's proof that they're losing control and they're panicking. They're not strong. They're scared. And they're lashing out the only way they know how, by attacking everything around you when they can't reach you anymore. Many survivors say they were shocked to see how far their ex could go, how cruel, calculated, and cold they became. But let me tell you, this isn't a new side of them. It's the real side, the one you couldn't see behind all the sweet talk and manipulation. And the best thing you can do: stay calm, stay silent, stay grounded. Don't chase them. Don't try to fix the lies. Don't give them a new reaction to feed on. Because the truth is, the people who really care about you will see through it. And everything they try to destroy won't matter in the long run. Because you've already done the one thing they can't undo. You got out. And you stayed out. Out. So if you feel like you're under attack, being slandered or isolated, take a breath. You're not weak. You're not crazy. You're not losing. You're just up against someone who's finally realizing they have no more power over you. 3. They launch a smear campaign. The more contradictory it gets, the more desperate they are. When a narcissist can no longer control you, when their rage no longer shakes you, they move to the next dirty tactic: attacking your reputation. You stay silent, you're cold and heartless. You express emotions, you're too dramatic and unstable. You walk away, you're a betrayer. You stay, you're clingy and needy. See the pattern? To them, it's not about what you do. It's about the fact that you're no longer under their thumb. The smear campaign usually starts quietly, but it spreads fast. Suddenly, mutual friends act weird. Someone looks at you differently. You hear whispers, rumors, and then it hits you. They're rewriting the story. And they're not using truth, they're using fear, anger, and bitterness. Here's the ironic part. Everything they say about you starts to contradict itself. One day you're too dependent. The next you're cold and distant. One minute you're manipulative. The next you're emotionally fragile. It doesn't add up. And it's not meant to. Because smear campaigns don't need to make sense, they just need to plant enough doubt to make people question you. At this stage, the narcissist will start recruiting what we call flying monkeys, people who unknowingly become messengers for their lies. These aren't necessarily bad people. They're just folks who got played, who bought into a narrative carefully crafted to make the narcissist look like the victim and you like the villain. But then, the inconsistencies start to show. Wait, didn't you say they were too sensitive? Now you're saying they're emotionless. Didn't you say they left you? But now you're saying you ended it. If they were the abuser, why do you keep talking about them? And when they run out of stories to spin, you know what's next. They turn it all around and say you're the narcissist. Yep, they slap the very label they fear the most onto you. Because they've run out of control, out of influence, out of credibility, and now all they have left is psychological projection, blaming you for exactly what they are. Here's the truth you need to hold on to. A mature, emotionally healthy person doesn't need to go around proving they were right. But someone who's dedicating all their energy to bringing you down, that's not someone who's moved on, that's someone who's drowning in their wounded ego. So if you're hearing rumors that don't match who you are, don't rush to defend yourself. Let your actions speak. Let time speak. Don't jump into the mud, because the more you struggle in it, the deeper they'll try to drag you. They're not doing all this because you did something wrong. They're doing it because you did something powerful, you walked away, and you stayed true to yourself. 4. They come back with pathetic, over-the-top hoovering like you don't see the act. You think silence makes them stop? You think walking away makes them disappear? Not with a narcissist. To them, your silence isn't the end of the story, it's just the beginning of the next performance. And this time it's not rage, not insults, not smear campaigns. Nope, now they switch roles. They become the broken one, the pitiful one, the changed one. They come back, and here comes the hovering. Yeah, hovering like the vacuum, trying to suck you right back in. It starts subtly. A random message out of nowhere. Hey, just wanted to know if you're doing okay. I've been thinking about those quiet breakfasts we used to have. I'm in the hospital, wasn't sure I'd get a chance to talk to you again. There's so much I never got to say, but I truly want you to be happy. Sounds soft. Sounds sincere. But if you've ever been with a narcissist, you can feel what's really going on. This isn't growth. This is bait wrapped in silk. And here's the thing. The hover attempts get more and more ridiculous because you've changed. Back then, one sad text would break your heart. One "I'm sorry" would make you reconsider. One crying voicemail would pull you right back in. But now, you read the message and feel nothing. Because you finally see it for what it is, a performance. And when the old tricks don't work anymore, they start switching roles like a stage actor with no script. 1 minute they're the mature, remorseful ex. The next, they're depressed and can't live without you. Then suddenly they're angry that you're so heartless. Each message is a new identity. Each attempt is a recycled scene. But you know what? None of it feels real anymore. Because if they truly changed, they wouldn't need to manipulate. If they truly loved you, they'd respect your boundaries. If they truly wanted healing, they'd be in therapy, not texting you at midnight hoping for a weak spot. And let's be real. They don't want you back because of love. They want you back to prove they still have power. To test if you still feel something. To see if you're still supply. That's not reconciliation. That's a power grab wearing a mask of affection. So when you get those random "I miss you" texts, when they suddenly show up being kind, poetic, or pitiful, ask yourself, is this a real person, or just an old script playing on repeat, hoping you'll watch one more time? Remember, your clarity is why they're trying so hard to get back in. Don't let a moment of nostalgia drag you into a cycle you already escaped. Because you're not the same person anymore. And no matter what role they play, they're still the same person underneath. 5. They start imitating you not because they admire you, but because they're trying to be you. You think they've moved on, that they're over you, living their best life with someone new. Maybe that's how it looks on the outside. But if you pay close attention, you'll notice something strange. They start becoming you. Sounds weird, right? But it's real. They start talking like you, posting captions in your tone, suddenly into your kind of music. Now they're into yoga, self-help books, plant-based eating, mindfulness, deep quotes, all the stuff they used to roll their eyes at when you did it. And no, this isn't growth. This isn't self-discovery. This is copy-paste behavior and imitation of who you were, served as their new identity. You once sent them that healing podcast. They ignored it. Now they're posting clips from it like it's their life mantra. You once told them about setting boundaries and awakening. They brushed it off. Now they're giving TED Talk-style advice to others like they invented the concept. You were the light, and now they're trying to reflect that light like it's their own. But here's the twist. They're not imitating you to grow. They're doing it to regain power, to send you a message. Look at me now, I've evolved. I'm healing. I'm thriving just like you wanted me to. See, I can be that person too. Sounds harmless, but it's not about healing. It's about image, about ego. They can't stand that you actually moved on. So they build a version of you without you. They want to show you they're fine, but everything they do still revolves around you. Watch from a distance and you'll see. They're eating at your favorite spots, wearing that style you once complimented, quoting the same lines you used to say. They're not just copying your interests. They're trying to replace you with a knockoff version of you. It's weird, but it makes perfect sense in the twisted logic of a narcissist. They don't have a real identity. They survive by mirroring others. You were once their emotional mirror, and now that you're gone, they're clinging to your reflection. But here's what they don't understand. You can't fake energy. You can't fake healing. You can't be someone else and not crack under the weight of the act. So if you see them mimicking you, don't get angry. Don't feel threatened. Smile, because the truth is, you had such an impact that someone who once tried to dim your light is now chasing your glow. 6. They flaunt their new relationship not out of love, but to hurt you. You see them posting pictures with their new partner, smiling like they've never been hurt. You see them traveling, checking into places you once dreamed of going with them. They look happy, almost like you never existed. Don't fall for it. Because what you're seeing isn't a new relationship. It's a weapon, a performance, a message. To healthy people, love is about connection. To a narcissist, love is about reaction. And if you are the one reacting, then they're winning. They're not sharing happiness, they're delivering a statement. I've replaced you. I don't need you anymore. I'm living the life we could have had, just with someone else. Sounds like they've moved on. But really, It's just another desperate move from someone who can't handle rejection. They'll post hand-holding pics at places you used to love, check in at the same restaurants, caption their photos with things like, "Never felt this scene before. Finally know what real love is." And yeah, it might sting. You might feel angry, sad, or confused, but take a breath, zoom out, and ask yourself this. If they're so happy, why do they need to make sure you know? Because the truth is, they're not posting for the world. They're posting for you. They think you're still watching, and they want you to hurt. Because in their mind, you're still the main source of supply, whether they admit it or not. And here's the kicker. They're not even creating new memories. They're recycling the old ones, just with someone else. Same restaurants, same activities, sometimes even the exact same words. Because to a narcissist, a relationship isn't about love. It's about image. And you. You were the original script. Now they're casting someone new in your role and calling it a sequel. This isn't romance. This is a reflection game. And if you feel jealous, triggered, or start questioning your worth, they win. But if you see the performance for what it is, you'll realize, the louder they flaunt, the emptier it really is. People who are genuinely happy don't need to scream it from the rooftops. They don't need to prove it to their ex. They just live, quietly, peacefully. But narcissists, they live through their audience. And whether you've unfollowed them or not, you're still the audience in their head. So when you see them flaunting their new love, don't take it personally. Remind yourself, this isn't about love. It's a passive-aggressive message, and you don't have to respond. Your silence? It's the final curtain drop to a show that only ever had one real star, you. 7. They fall into an identity crisis because you're no longer there to reflect them. Here's something most people don't realize right after leaving a narcissist. You weren't just their partner. You were their mirror. And when that mirror disappears, they get lost. Sounds dramatic? It's not. Narcissists don't have a stable identity. They don't really know who they are unless someone is standing in front of them reacting, engaging, validating, or resisting. Their entire sense of self is built on things like, I'm great because you said so. I matter because you're still attached. I exist because you still react. Now, you don't react. You don't argue. You don't try to make them see your side. You walked away quietly, firmly, completely. And for them, that's not just a breakup. It's an identity collapse. So what do? They start to reinvent themselves, but not in a healthy way. In a chaotic, desperate way. One week they're spiritual and zen, doing yoga and talking about inner peace. The next they're partying, drinking, living their best life. They change how they dress, how they talk, even what they believe in. Not because they've found themselves, but because they've lost their reflection. And here's the part they don't want you to see. They can't keep it up. Because without you, the person who once made them feel valued, adored, important, they don't know how to function. Many fall into deep depression, anxiety, emotional instability. And yeah, that might pull on your heartstrings. You might feel bad, but it's not your job to fix that. They might come back, saying they've changed, saying they're going to therapy, that they finally realize what they lost. But be clear, they're not trying to fix the relationship. They're trying to fix their ego, the one that shattered when you stopped being their mirror. And this is why I need you to hear me clearly. You were never the problem. You didn't hurt them by walking away. You didn't destroy them by staying silent. You just stopped feeding a false identity with your energy. It's a tough truth to swallow. You weren't just someone they loved. You were where they existed. And now that you're gone, they don't know where to stand. When you walk away from a narcissist, you're not just leaving a person, you're stepping out of an entire system of manipulation built on repetition, confusion, and emotional control. And that's why your silence, your peace, and your quiet growth terrify them. They rage not because you did something wrong, but because you stopped reacting. They smear your name not because you're toxic, but because you're no longer within their reach. They copy you, love bomb you again, flaunt their new relationship not because they've moved on, but because you did what they could never do. You chose truth over illusion. You chose healing. You chose to walk through the pain they once used to keep you trapped. You chose to face the truth that you never needed them to feel valuable, because your worth was never theirs to define. They might rebuild their image. They might polish their online persona. They might cycle through roles trying to pull you back. But there's one thing they'll never replicate: the truth. And the truth is, you already won, not with noise, but with quiet power. Real growth doesn't need applause. Real healing doesn't need a spotlight. And real love is the love you learn to give yourself after surviving what tried to break you. So if you're in the stage where they're acting out, trying everything to shake your peace, know this. You didn't do anything wrong. You just did what they can't stand. You chose yourself. They didn't lose you because you changed. They lost you because you finally saw who they really were. And that, my friend, is the highest form of closure. No revenge. No drama. Just coming home to yourself. If this video touched something in you, drop a comment, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications, because we're going to keep creating content that helps you heal, wake up, and grow stronger every single day. You deserve a life that's free from manipulation and rooted in truth, a life built from the inside out. Let your real freedom begin today.